A single crisis can wipe out an entire company if handled poorly. On the plus side, a calm, measured response can not only save you and your business's reputation, it can sometimes even improve how the public sees you. Stay tuned. We are talking everything you need to know about crisis communication next on Moxie Talk. Hi everyone, I'm Fia Fastbinder and welcome to Moxie Talk, where we help you find your voice, share your message, and lead with confidence. Today we're discussing crisis communication because a crisis almost always appears in a flash. It's important that you have a swift response, and it's essential to prevent or at least minimize loss of profits, increased litigation, job loss, injured employee morale, a ruined reputation, lower momentum as a competitor, increased government intervention, increased consumer activism, a loss of trust in the management. You get the picture. Welcome to the world of crisis communication. Your limits as a public speaker will be tested here. So first of all, what is a crisis communication plan? Unlike a business plan, a crisis communication plan maps out exactly what will be communicated to those who are affected by the crisis, including employees, their families, stakeholders, and members of the media. The plan should be simple. Emotions will be running high, and most of the people involved will be out of their element. So strive for a plan that's concise and easy to understand. Now, how do you present yourself to the media during a crisis? If you're the one appearing before a swarm of cameras and microphones regarding the crisis, the real finesse of any media training you may have received will come in handy here. First, let's talk about how to ditch the nerves. Recent times have downgraded how some leaders attempt crisis control to the level of slapstick comedy. We see sweating bullets, with stammering about how everything is fine. No, really, it's fine. This is the modern face of trying to save face. People will see reasons to ridicule online first, and then reasons to take you seriously second, no matter if your brand and your reputation is the innocent victim. So if you can get yourself under control, it's more likely that the public will believe that you have everything under control. So how do you do this? We have talked a lot in past videos about breathing. So I am going to go over a little bit about diaphragmatic breathing high level. And if you want a deep dive, please check out some of my other videos on breathing because I really think it is the power tool for public speaking. Your first line of defense against runaway nerves is really breath work. If you take away anything from this video, let it be this: diaphragmatic breathing. This is how you slow your heart rate, boost your brain power with oxygen, avoid panic and fight or flight, reach a state where you exude confidence, and possibly cut some tension around you. So how does diaphragmatic breathing work? It's easier to understand when you know how it isn't done. So those shallow, short chest breaths that we take when we're under stress, where it feels like your lungs are competing for space with your heart, that is not diaphragmatic breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing is slow, deep breaths. That's a sign that you're incorporating your diaphragm, which is down here. So when your stomach kind of protrudes out on the inhale and contracts on the exhale, then you know you're on the right track. That said, there are some concrete steps you can take to make sure you are breathing from your diaphragm. The first is to place one hand in your stomach and visualize a balloon in your stomach. We call this balloon breathing, actually. Now inhale and inflate that balloon and feel your stomach pushing out. Now on your inhale, imagine that your lungs are also filling with air. So you're filling up that balloon and you're filling up your lungs with air. Now exhale and feel that balloon deflate. Your hand goes towards your belly button and all that air comes out your nose or mouth. Welcome to diaphragmatic breathing. Now, if you can do this on what we call a count of 4, 4, 6, then you've got it covered. That means you're going to inhale and fill up your balloon for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and then exhale for a count of 6. Do this at least 3 times, and you're definitely going to calm your nerves before any media appearance. Now, here's a side note. You may find that your shoulders and your chest rise a little bit when you're breathing in. This is natural. You have lungs and they're here and here. So that is okay if your lungs fill up and your chest rises a little bit. What you want to avoid is this. And if you're not able to find your diaphragm, lay down on your back before you start this exercise. When we lay on our back, we naturally fall into diaphragmatic breathing. Okay, let's talk a little bit about how to frame your message. You can't have too much finesse during a crisis communication. And there's a wealth of examples of CEOs and spokespersons that didn't have finesse. And it's understandable to a point. Emotions are running high during crisis communication. And some of the worst things a leader can do are get defensive and say things like, "It wasn't our fault. We didn't do it." Or point fingers. "It was their fault. They were the ones doing it. We were doing everything right." Or stay tight-lipped. Like, we aren't making any statements at this time. All of the above are red flags that will signal the bulls of the media and the internet to charge. You're in a race against reporters that in the best moments want the facts. All of them. So if you don't cover all the facts and they're revealed by reporters later, it will make your organization look like you were trying to hide something in the worst moments. Reporters are going to frame anything they find into a narrative that will serve their ratings first and your reputation second. It all depends on who is doing the reporting. The solution is, when framing your message, think like a reporter. So how do you do that? The first step is to be transparent. Facts, facts, facts. Don't couch the facts. Don't hide the facts. Don't add any drama or emotion to the facts. Straight to the point and matter of fact is best. If you don't tell your story your way, somebody else will decide how to tell your story their way. So don't delay in making a statement. Speak first, and you have the chance to set the tone for the narrative. If you wait till somebody else speaks first, you'll spend the rest of the crisis re-educating the public. Then proceed as follows. Thoroughly research the current perception of the crisis and your brand. Social media will be your cue on how your crisis is going over with the public. Beyond this, you can conduct surveys and interview people off the street, literally doing the work of a reporter. To the extent that you can, you want to craft your message to the people that will be hearing it. This is a skill that, as much as it is intuitive, it's analytical. Our previous video covered how to do proper audience analysis and refine your message. So if you're unsure how to do this, check out our video on audience analysis. It's in this whole media training series that we've done. So next, you need to decide what your company is going to do to fix the issue and what you'll do to prevent it happening again. Here's an example. When Johnson & Johnson was accused of poisoning Tylenol, they made the internal decision to advertise the message that customers should not buy Tylenol until further notice. Then they redesigned their bottles from the ground up with new tamper-proof features. They focused on the victims first. Then they carefully made their defense. Johnson & Johnson was innocent of the accusation, but they didn't rush to their own defense right away. You want to be clear that your first priority is the people affected by the crisis. When CEOs and others rush to make excuses or point fingers before they've offered condolences to the people affected by the crisis, it looks awful. So once you've done that, rehearse until you can stay on point. Let's talk a little bit about rehearsal. A crisis is obviously an emergency, and the time you have to practice drills is before, not during a crisis. Since you don't have a crystal ball to tell you if, when, or what kind of crisis you'll encounter, there'll be a lot of speaking that will require you thinking on your feet. Rehearsal of what's available to you will give you a solid starting point for the stuff that you'll have to wing. This is similar to professional actors who tirelessly rehearse their lines and still look for the possibility of ad-lib. Speakers and presenters that rehearse their speeches take the stage with boosted executive presence. They don't need to tell you that they're in control. You can hear it in their voices. You can see it in the way they move. Rehearsing will give you that in a crisis, and it will give you control in the same way. So now at the end of this video, let's talk about some past examples of crisis communication. And all of the videos of this crisis communication can be found in the links in the description of this video. So if you want to see the real deal, check it out then. There is no shortage of crisis communication examples of companies, organizations, and high-profile individuals coming to rescue a reputation in flames. Sometimes the crisis can occur at the bottom level. Employees that have a moment of poor judgment, or someone launches a smear campaign and the CEO has to find out about it after the fact. Sometimes the top level management starts the problem. Regardless of where and how the problem started, crisis communication examples that involve speaking to the media are everywhere. The focus for the sake of this video is how people spoke, not what they spoke or the message that they're getting. Really, it is about their delivery. Let's start with United Airlines. In 2019, an innocent doctor was dragged off an overbooked United Airlines flight while screaming and injured. You might have remembered this. Though this happened at the hands of unscrupulous employees, the incident tarnished the image of the entire company overnight. In the link below, you'll find the CEO of United Airlines publicly apologizing. So what did he do well? He didn't stammer or stutter. He didn't have any verbal clutches or filler words like or etc. What he could have improved on, he had a very subdued tone of voice. It was almost like he was hiding something or he was scared. And he was looking at his notes all the time, which definitely, as much as when you avert your eyes like that, it definitely makes the viewer think that they can't trust you. And if you look at his body language, you can see that he got small. So as much as we can open our bodies up so we can have that executive presence, the better. This same CEO was interviewed on the news, and it's a great example of what not to do in crisis communication. He was constantly averting his eyes. He interrupted the anchor. He's still really small, and he got even smaller. So make sure that when you are doing crisis communication, in fact, when you're doing any media appearances, you make sure that your body can get as big and open as possible. Now let's talk about JetBlue. On the other side of the field, here's an apology that went over pretty well. JetBlue had an operational stumble after an ice storm that left many customers stranded on the tarmac. The CEO took to social media to convey an apology and a detailed plan of how things were going to be done so that the incident wouldn't be repeated. The content was notably nice, but how about the delivery? What was good? He had consistent eye contact with the anchors and with the camera. He had passion in his delivery, animation, lots of gestures, pauses, facial expressions. You felt like he was really alive. There wasn't any kind of subdued, small, scared delivery. So how could he have improved? There was some stammering and a noticeable volume of verbal crutches, which we call filler words. Last but not least, let's talk about Robinhood. The world will not forget the commission-free trading app. While certain stocks were hot, users found that the app functionality was suddenly limited. This led to the accusation that Robinhood was protecting the hedge funds of the wealthy. The CEO of Robinhood weighed in on the matter. Some say he did really well. Others say he did really poorly. But forget the message. What about the quality of his presentation? The good? He had great eye contact. He had great vocal variety. He had differences in his pacing. Sometimes he was fast. Sometimes he was slower at key points. He had facial expression. He wasn't monotone. So he didn't appear as deadpan. What could he have improved on? It was notably scripted, and the way he was reading it made us know that it was scripted. If he could have adopted his speaking in real time to sound more ad-libbed or more natural, this would have helped him, and it would have helped his composure as well. So long story short, preparation wins every time. Hopefully, none of this advice is advice that you'll have to take. But if you're ever met with a PR crisis, how you speak will carry just as much weight as what you say. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more videos on media training, crisis communication, and how to handle yourself like a pro in front of the camera, check out our media training series. And if you liked this video, make sure to share it, like it, and if you want to be part of the Moxie family, subscribe to our channel.